Welcome back to Impossible Live. Welcome if you're joining us for the first time. You'll smile today that I'm a little late. There's a cab honking outside. It's a perfect day for the session title, No More Drama. I'm listening to a lovely, lovely little girl who's obviously waiting for a parent to get into the cab, and you'll probably hear the horn again. In the meantime, this toast is for you. And I'd like to welcome you and thank you for joining us today. One of the things about Impossible Live is it started 3.5 years ago, and I almost paused it a couple of weeks ago. So I want to thank a couple of you who've reached out recently to let me know that mm, sometimes we all are feeling some kind of way. Sometimes we need a break. We need some energy. And hey, Meryl, thank you so much for joining us today. And Meryl, thanks for a lot of beautiful light last week. Greatly appreciated it during a complex season of gratitude, grief, and growth. One of the reasons why I brought this title up again, this used to be like one of those theme songs from Mel. And I I laugh because Meryl would say, "Hey, Leanna, how are you? Welcome back." "Hi, Leslie. Thanks for joining us." You would laugh because I use the term fragile world, and some people didn't have a working definition of that a couple of years ago. Some people didn't have a working definition of it before the pandemic, during the pandemic. But I used fragile world, and during that time, this song really was one of my theme songs, and it had been for decades. It's the reminder for those of us. Like today, I planned to stop in and thank Leslie personally during Mind Over Matter. "Hey, Dr. Marcia, got your book here. Happy to see you. And thanks for all the wonderful energies." But this morning, I planned on popping into Leslie's Mind Over Matter to say thank you. Client called, mom called. It's a reminder. Whether we're entrepreneurs, whether we're working from home, whether we're working in an office, no matter what hybrid or live space we're in, there's always something happening out there that's out behind our control. So the one thing I'd love to say for those of us who haven't, take a breath. Go pet your fur baby. Go check on your loved one that you haven't seen in a bit, and pause today because there's somebody you know who's feeling like singing No More Drama. It's a really active song. It makes me think of Zumba and getting up and moving, and some would say of the groove. But a really dear friend, Charlie Scarrett, he was shocked when this was my first request for a song he played at an event we were doing together for, at the time, our BNI chapter. I think he was shocked that I requested this song. And I realized afterwards, Charlie had not ever seen me dance with such enthusiasm. I could really feel it. Ah, the horn is back. Hopefully the parent is coming soon. But the energy, the enthusiasm, what we feel in our world right now. And I'll call it a fragile world because many are feeling some kind of way. And others, we just have to be reminded of rooms like, "Hi, Lark. Ooh, great mental fitness energies in the house. Thanks for the fabulous vibes." There are so many amazing live stream hosts who are joining us. If you're on LinkedIn in the chat, and if you haven't had a chance yet, follow Leslie Flowers. She has a weekly carousel. I am honored to be a new person in her carousel. And she'll let you know about upcoming shows to help us flip the script, support people who are really helping to elevate our vibes, kind of, in our fragile world. When I first said our fragile world, I shared it in a writing group with a coach that I was following. And I was about to sign up with him for private one on one lessons, but I knew it was a really high investment rate. And he suggested I come join his mastermind as a sample. And I joined the mastermind, and I was Introvert was a little nervous. It really was a no more drama day. And he had suggested when I come that I put a writing sample. I'm grateful now for lots of inspiration from a lot of the authors who are in the room, from Lachelle Atkins and Summer DeCoste, who are running a Think Well and Journal. Hey, Americo, how are you? Happy Monday. They're running a Think Well and Journal on Clubhouse. I went in today to Chatter to go support and check in on a dear friend in between him being in the hospital and going to a conference. I think the thing is, we have to remember our perspective, our orientation. For those of you who can't see my shirt today, I'm wearing a New York Mets shirt. Why? Because the magic number is down to 7, maybe even lower, and they're about to possibly risk being in the playoffs. But back to our fragile world and back to no more drama. There's a limit that all of us have, no matter how strong our faith walk is, whether we just bought Dr. Marcia's new amazing book to inspire faith. Everybody needs a little something. And here I am, introvert basically, trained ambivert because of all the BNI experiences and all the years of hosting events, co-hosting and supporting clients at event alchemy experiences. And I showed up at this group and I read something with Fragile World. And I realized at the time I had a lot going on when I wrote this. And I didn't realize that the piece of content I created, as they shared in feedback later, some of them said it was 8 or 9 pieces of content. For those of us who aren't writing, hey Lisa, for those of us who aren't writing with the assistance of AI, who don't have a copywriter on speed dial, who don't have a marketing intern that's helping us kind of listen to what it sounds like. And I think that's one of the benefits sometimes of live streams. We can get a transcript, we can get some, what I love to call feed forward. But they shared feedback. It was historical. It showed that I really had confused some of them. We didn't necessarily share the same culture. We weren't necessarily the same generation. We weren't necessarily the same gender. And we didn't necessarily have the same identities. What I found was interesting was when I talked about fragile world, for some, it reminds you of glass ceilings. Hey, Mike, it reminds you of glass ceilings. It reminds you of concrete ceilings, of bamboo ceilings. As a speaker, an amazing speaker, taught me, there are all sorts of walls that we feel are locked. We've got our inner ones, which may be where no more drama comes from. We may have our exterior ones, which maybe is where my definition of fragile world came from. But what really hit me was not the crickets, not that I read something and no one was nodding. I wasn't looking for agreement. I'll admit it, a bit of a disruptor, which is why I'm grateful that Roy Kowarski and Martin and Ilya invited me to join them in Disruptive Business Leadership, which is weekly on Fridays if you're on LinkedIn at 5. And you let me know if it's ever of interest because I'll send you an invite or share a link to a recording. But I think one of the things about the fragile world, and Mike and I were in a live stream yesterday where the no more drama part, we ended up having a little thread. And I want to thank Mike because Mike has written amazing potential songs. We may have a theme song soon for Impossible Live, which is really, excited, lots of goosebumps. But yes, Merrill, oh, Merrill, the New York Mets wild card playoff berth is in a very fragile state as the Cincinnati Reds have caught up, now tied for the 3rd spot. Let's go, Mets. I really was hoping not to show up today just in a thermal. I'm ready for my Mets hat at the next game. And I won't turn it inside out like a rally cap. But back to no more drama. There's somebody who there's something we could do to eliminate isolation. There's something we could do to help them know, to see they're heard, they're felt, they're seen. And Mike and I had a little chat yesterday, and I appreciate him because we're both deep, as many are, in complex seasons of gratitude, grief, and growth. And we're trying to stay not in our fast food happy lane, but we're trying to do stuff to elevate our vibes. Yes, Tracy, no more drama. The thing is, we're finding it in conversations in groups. We're finding it in conversations about how we present, about how we come off, about how we hear each other, about who we are, about when we give each other. Mm, in my days, and I'll straight up, I'm going to be caregiving for mom for a couple of weeks. And she called today to remind me, as I say, mom is the queen. Whenever I think I have a plan, this is the lovely woman where most of my innovation came from. She reminds me, no matter what I'm thinking of creatively, whatever suggestion I have, she's got another one. And I think that's what I learned in that group about writing. And in some of our conversations, we need to keep helping each other, invite each other to sacred spaces, like some of our amazing hosts that are on LinkedIn, safe spaces where we can have conversations. Sometimes it's a sacred space, not recorded. Sometimes a space where someone's just holding space for a really great conversation with awareness, with respect, in their own style, in places where we can lean in, or we can find the mics, because Mike LeBlanc, who's telling me blessings, Mel, courage on. This amazing man and I have been in audio rooms and we've been in live stream rooms for ages. And I finally had a chance to see him on a stage like 2 weeks ago. I want to thank him for every song he sent me. I want to thank him for every blessing he's sending out at a time where we're in a fragile world where we need some more love and light. We don't always find it. We don't always feel it. I reached out today. I'm on the board of Fearless Hudson Valley Inc. You'll see it in the LinkedIn comments. It's a board that helps me honor uh, my cousin Tiffany, who Tiffany was murdered uh, before before her 20th birthday, before Christmas. So I'm on a domestic violence, teen dating violence, human trafficking board, and some of them were a little under fire in terms of how we're raising funds. So if you're in the tri-state area, save April 17th next year. Come dance with me live in person, just like we would dance to No More Drama. But somewhere, there's something we could do to help each other raise the beats, whether it's hanging out in Leslie's Mind and Matter, whether you're in Lisa Fevex and Annie's great rooms on menopause, on women's health issues, whether you're hanging out in Americo's rooms or Lark's fantastic mental fitness communities, or checking out her upcoming retreats, or her social Saturday chat. Some of these shout outs, we're going to make sure they're in the comments on LinkedIn so that you can find some of these great sacred spaces to flourish, to hopefully lift your chin up a little bit, to hopefully keep your head up, as I'm truly hoping the Mets do. And I want to thank Merrill for giving me the status of who that were tied with the Cincinnati Reds. No offense to my dear friends and clients and collaborators in Ohio, but may the force be with the Mets. I think the thing, and usually you'll find, as Lark's saying, and I appreciate, we hope you have a really good week. We hope you have really good days. When you're not, We need to send each other some light, some great energy, some smiles across the miles, as I like to think of them. If you have not heard No More Drama and Roshni of Still Fire Healing, who's amazing. I'm really looking forward to being on her podcast later this week and to reconnecting. We haven't had a chance to catch up in a while since her son is back in school and she had an active summer. But the thing is, we need to create a space. Last week, one of our amazing listeners who I haven't had a chance to ever have a conversation with, she heard me say that I was going to pause on Possible Live. Impossible was part of a force field of a magnet that was on my refrigerator. We can definitely have a longer conversation about it. It was from a multi day event where I walked or tried to walk 60 miles in 3 days in honor of loved ones. Somewhere out here, we need to hear each other. And that's another James Ingram song that I should remember to add to our playlist. One of the things I love is Mike's helping to refresh my love of music. He's sending me amazing songs based on, I mentioned stillness the other day. Here's an amazing song Mike's sending on stillness. He's writing some fabulous songs, and I'm the girl who's certified in trust, and I was a little afraid of AI. Mike's songs are I'm listening and just really enjoying the music and the beat. But it's a reminder. As I said, I had a fear of AI, which I discovered in Lachelle Atkins, one of her audio rooms. Then came amazing people like Ileana and Cedric to come open my eyes, and Bryn Tillman with a custom GPT. And now I just hired a fantastic coach, human design, AI, sales, because Be Visible Solutions is coming. And I need it to really feel like there's no more drama behind it. And it's been a weekend where I had to turn off the television a bit. I've been watching a lot of news. I'm actually getting news from family members. Last night, I loved listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Grammy salute. It gave me a chance to relax. It reminded me of the amazing breathing exercises that Lark leads us through in Social Saturday Chat when you can lean in to relax for a few minutes. Somewhere around, there's somebody who was like I was, writing about our fragile world, and there was nobody shaking their head, not shaking your head with the nod or, I hear you, I feel you. What I appreciated was they asked so many questions that it really helped me as the introvert slow that active brain down. What I want to invite you to do is when you have a chance, help somebody else do that same thing. Help them feel possibly like they're taking a step towards no more drama. Granted, many of us have relatives with mental health challenges, friends with mental health challenges, with health challenges, with caregiving challenges. There's somebody out there that we know who can help them feel a little bit like there's a little less drama. Because one of the lines is about no more drama in my life. And as this was a couple of weeks ago, we're in another mental health month, we're in another awareness month. We need to really listen to each other and listen to each other from the space and from the place that you will laugh as we're almost finishing today. You will laugh because usually I'm on my phone, keeping in touch with you, with what's happening, with what's going on, with what you're thinking, with what you're feeling. And today's a day that's a reminder of no more drama, of no matter how strong we seem, no matter how much pep in our step, no matter how many people are around us, no matter how active a store is, there's somebody around who needs an invitation to eliminate the isolation of no more drama. And I really want to thank you in our recent live stream conversations. for remembering what we say is the caution of being really careful what we say and how we say it. And like Michael saying, "Hey Jay, how are you doing?" That as uh, Jay is saying, make sure we shout out the CCHS network, which is someone he advocates for. And I think, hey Kimberly, how are you? Amazing Kimberly of Pockets and Pieces here to talk to us, and that Mike is reminding us that AI is a tool that needs to be used with care and responsibility. His songs on this AI station are fantastic. And yes, Kimberly, Earth, Wind, and Fire rocked last night. But I appreciate that Mike is reminding us that his reframe was guided by a friend. Life happens for you, not to you. There are lessons learned, there are opportunities, there are possibilities. And even on the gray days, we definitely there's something we learn from them. and, my, and Meryl, yes, we need the grimace to come back. I was hysterical. My mom loves the color purple. So seeing the grimace run around, yes, yes, yes. We need to move back to last year with the Mets. And yes, we're back to the Mets. I am the daughter of a Brooklyn Dodgers fan who fell in love with Jackie Robinson watching him at Ebbets Field. So as opposed to becoming the West Coast Dodgers girl, I'm the girl from the Bronx who's a New York Mets fan. And yes, the Yankees, occasionally I root for them. And I have to thank people like Felipe Cofino and Troy who will tell me I'm rooting for the wrong team. But I appreciate those like Merrill and Melissa Cohen. Whew, we are suffering silently. And our New York Liberty lost this week. So, yes, no more drama. I know it won't evaporate. I know I can't make it a wish. I know it's a prayer for some of you. But Kimberly Lechnick, who's going to join us again next week for Trust, Pockets of Peace. Kimberly said, it's good to be here with you today. I'm thanking you for joining me, for being part of the Be Visible Villages, for sending light and incredible energy and support. And really, there's somebody you know somewhere. They're pausing. You haven't seen them in a while. You haven't heard from them in a while. And reach out when you can. Send them a plate. I've recently started picking up the phone more. And Kimberly, I had a chance to wish Kimberly happy birthday last week. And I was about to type a message and I realized I needed to tell this wonderful woman how much I adore her. So thank you for acknowledging. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for cheering. Thanks, Leslie Flowers, for new love and light. Thanks, Mike, for lifting with music. And I'm Mel is okay. Back in what I call imperfect balance. I will treasure it. Thanks to amazing somatic healers. Thanks to amazing friends. Surrounded by people in the health industry. And I thank you. Please keep on, continue coming. Because we all need a little pep in our step. And Kimberly's mentioning Henry Cloud on his book of trust, and you will laugh. I was on Chatter today with Jonathan Howard. I wanted to check on him because Jonathan will be heading off to a conference, and he lost one of his beautiful DC puggles, and he was in the hospital for a little bit. And I just needed to hear his voice, kind of see friend to friend, make sure he's okay. Because in Australia, they had Are You Okay Day. We need to have more of the Are You Okay days here. You'll notice these kind of posts, they're on my page. They're on the Be Visible with Mel page. And yes, even though Be Visible Solutions is coming, Be Visible with Mel always reminds the introvert to come out and play. So I'm not changing that page for anything. It's the reminder, it's the invitation that sometimes we go in caves when we can't find these amazing sacred spaces. Sometimes when we don't find the recording that lifts us up, when we don't hear the voice that says, hey, I see you. And like I said, when I first mentioned Fragile World, a bunch of people kind of looked at me like, what in the world is she talking about? And I was reading the words. So I caught the vibes in the room, but I didn't see their eyes. Somewhere in there, there's somebody who's looking for you to look at them, for you to reach out, for you to say hi, for you to say, I see you. Check out Jay's comments in the chat about keeping a special eye out for those who are neurodiverse. I appreciate those who reminded me introvert is its own form of that. But I want to thank you for joining me today, for a little bit of patience as the cab left, as the young child found an adult to go with them in the cab, and the cab driver is no longer text. On that note, stay safe, stay well, stay inspired, and stay in touch. Be really careful in terms of all of these supermoons that are coming up. We have all these northern lights, all these things that are affecting others and their energies, and you and your light are so needed in this world, just like your voice. Thank you for being here today and for joining me today. And if you have a chance next week, come pop in and check out amazing Kimberly Lechnick as she returns for our Pockets of Peace series. We did celebrations, we did reflections, and now we're doing it from the perspective of trust. We hope and we trust that you're having an amazing, amazing day. Jay is asking me about my favorite movie. Jay, I will let you know about my favorite movies with no dramas. Actually, I'd have to say Birdcage with Robin Williams is one of them. And another one I would have to say is Shrek. So the animation, the invitation, the energy, the laughs, the loves, please keep spreading them and sharing them along. And thank you so much for joining us today for Impossible Live. We look forward to seeing you again next week or on YouTube. And if we haven't chatted in a while, please reach out. I would welcome an opportunity to hear from you, to talk with you. Have a magnificent day filled with blessings, with opportunities and possibilities. Take great care. Be well.